When a cultural phenomenon ends in a terrible way, it's no shocker to see that people want to boycott, people want to have their voices be heard, and fans of Stranger Things are taking to social media saying, I'm canceling my subscription, I'm done with Netflix, which is wild given all of the controversial things this company has done before, and this is where they put their foot down. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, Stranger Things fans are extremely upset. Some genuinely believe that Conformity Gate was real and that yesterday we were going to get some big brand new episode, and I'm actually curious to see what series is going to do that now, bait you into believing it's the end of the show, they're going to end it, the series, in a terrible way, and then they're going to shock the world a few days later with another new episode. I know Netflix will do that now at some point, but it wasn't the Duffer Brothers doing because they were not smart enough. They truly believed people were going to be happy with this finale. And while I don't think it's the worst, I also do not think that it is the best. And fans have been coping. Oh my gosh, they're trying to make us feel like Joyce. And in a couple of days, we're actually going to get this finale and it's going to be phenomenal and amazing. But it was pretty clear that when they didn't kill off any of the main characters and they didn't really make you feel like anyone had grown as a character over the season, that it was just sort of done and that they were not smart enough to do something like that. I know it's fun to cope and it's fun to believe that something's going to happen like that, but we know now that that wasn't the case, and there are Stranger Things fans who are saying that they are going to cancel their subscriptions, that they are going to boycott, and that they cannot believe Netflix made them feel like an idiot and almost strung people along with all of these little hints and these little like teasers. But I can't believe that these people are actually going to cancel their subscriptions given all of the extremely controversial things that Netflix has done over the years. They turned Cleopatra black in a series that Jada Pinkett Smith helped with, and they actually got sued in Egypt over that. They hosted content like Cuties on their platform, which was, of course, extremely controversial and rightly so. And these people didn't even fight back when Netflix cracked down on password sharing. So maybe we will actually hear about mass cancellations. I don't think so. I think that this is people trying to almost scare them into doing a sequel, but we're seeing a lot of posts like this. It is time to boycott Netflix, and it's the fan countdown saying, do you believe? I believe, up to when this new episode was supposed to release in fans' minds. No Conformity Gate theory episode, so it means episode 8 was the final episode. Hashtag boycott Netflix. Hashtag this is insane, which I think is very fascinating because I do agree that the ending was so bad that it almost felt like there was something else that should have happened. It just didn't end in a fulfilling way, and they were so scared to kill off any of the main characters that they leave this extremely ambiguous L ending in the show for you to decide what you believe is the truth. I mean, they couldn't even keep Max blind, which was a crazy decision. I know we love Max, but she should have been blind. Though people were saying things like, I was rewatching V1 and noticed that Derek is playing Ghosts and Goblins, a game famous for its fake ending where you have to replay the whole thing on harder difficulty to get the true finale. And Derek doesn't get to finish it because Tina won't let him. This was supposed to be a big point for it. The entire Stranger Things fandom currently in a collective psychosis coming up with a theory called Conformity Gate as a coping mechanism because the Duffer's writing was genuinely that bad. Yeah, imagine writing the ending of a show and people hating it so much that millions upon millions of people believe a theory that it is a false ending and that they were going to shock the world with another. I am sorry, but the Duffer Brothers shouldn't write again. They did a terrible job with the end of the show, with the pacing and the story decisions and the character arc endings, and there were really no stakes. And I do think that some of these actors will get other jobs because they have already been hired for them, like Sadie Sink, Caleb Laughlin. You have Winona Ryder and David Harbour, who are going to be completely fine. But outside of a few major players like Millie Bobby Brown, who had already established a contract with Netflix, I don't see most of the other cast members really going anywhere or ever getting another role of this size and scope. Can we boycott Netflix as a final FU? Oh my lord. To cope with the Conformity Gate tragedy, I propose that in an act of boycott Netflix for this ass ending that they gave us, we move to Disney Plus instead, watch Gravity Falls, a show that was actually planned since the beginning. Oh yeah, you want to go from one bad company to another bad company, that's really gonna stick it to the man. Bet money that they're going to boycott Netflix next. Can we all agree to boycott Netflix? Now, a lot of these posts do not have a lot of traction, right? They do not have a lot of interaction, but there are a lot of posts like that. And I, of course, don't think that there's going to be some major movement. I think a lot of people are just going to stew for the next like a week or two, and then they're going to move on. And in a couple of years, we are going to get the next live action prequel series. We are also getting the animated, which maybe will stir the pot a little bit. A lot of people will say, I can't believe that it ended in such a way. I loved these characters, but I still don't think that it's going to end in some like major boycott. But people are taking to Rotten Tomatoes. The score has been going down. The score actually went down a couple of percent yesterday when we found out the Conformity Gate was fake, that it was not real. And when Volume 1 had dropped, it was sitting at a 79%, which was really solid. When Volume 2 had released, it tanked all the way down to a like 57-58 range. Now it is down to 54%. I think it's going to get to a 50. I don't think it's going to get any lower. It definitely isn't going to get as low as like a Game of Thrones season 8. But either way, people are upset, and I completely understand why. But threatening to boycott doesn't really work against a lot of these companies unless we're talking about like 10 million or 15 million people saying enough is enough, I'm not going to. But if Netflix promises to do better in the future, a lot of people will end up coming back. So usually these don't work in terms of entertainment, but well, it's very clear that there is a lot of discontent amongst fans. Stranger Things fans explaining Conformity Gate. Watch it more than once and this theory starts to feel real. Well, just because it feels real doesn't mean that it is. Stranger Things fans at 12:01 a.m. on January 8th, when they finally realized that episode 8 was indeed the actual finale, Conformity Gate isn't real, and the finale really was just that bad. Perhaps the real question here is how many fans are still going to try to insist they're right, even after the behind the scenes Netflix documentary about creating the final season is dropped. Haha, poor guys, sorry all. Imagine being the Duffer Brothers right now, coming to terms with the fact that their handling of the final season was so atrocious, it sent fans into a collective delusion. You are like Papa in my padded room. Finale was not bad, but it also wasn't great. Y'all, you make so many theories and it all blows up in your face, but the finale was great. Why would it be at midnight? Well, either way, it didn't come out at all whatsoever. So I'll be keeping my eye on Stranger Things. I think that now Conformity Gate is done, now that the finale is out, and now that people are finally coming to the realization that the Stranger Things they once knew and loved is over, there's not going to be much more to talk about. But yeah, from the really poor acting, the really bad writing, the cringeworthy, poorly timed scenes, like Will's coming out scene, this all did not help this final season. And at the end of the day, while fans are extremely upset, I don't think a boycott is actually going to work. And this is just a few angry fans who are trying to stir the pot up it's really not going to work. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.